السلام عليكم جميعا. معكم أخوكم الرحيلي من دلتا السعودية. أول شيء أحب أقول لكم كل عام وأنتم بألف خير وصحة وسلامة، وينعاد علينا وعليكم بالصحة والعافية. متحدثنا اليوم منضم إلينا من البرتغال، فببدأ التقديم باللغة الإنجليزية إن شاء الله، وبعدها بنبدأ نستقبل أسئلتكم في النهاية. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mahal Al-Raheli from NSK Trading, which is the exclusive agent of the Portuguese company Delta in Saudi Arabia. And today I'll be your presenter. I would like to begin by wishing you all a blessed Eid, and may all your times be filled with joy and happiness. We want to first thank the different audience who took the initiative to attend this and the previous webinars from the UAE and Algeria, and of course, our beloved audience from the Saudi Arabia. Now, this webinar is a very different and a special webinar, as our speaker today joining us all the way from Portugal. Our speaker tonight is Mr. Vasco. Mr. Vasco is the sales manager in the Middle East in Delta Cafes. Mr. Vasco worked as a business development support manager at BSH Home Appliances Group. He has a long experience in business marketing and business development. Our speaker will talk tonight about Delta Q, and hopefully he will take us in a tour inside Delta Q, where he will talk about their business and some special stories about Delta Q. Also, he will talk about coffee, branding, marketing, business, and PR. In addition to that, I would like to remind you about our prices. As we announced before, we will be drawing on 5 prizes. Each prize is a milk cool coffee machine, a set of coffee capsules, and some other accessories. Everyone who attends one of our courses will automatically be included into the draw. Now, I don't want to take much of your time, so I'm going to leave the mic for our speaker, Mr. Vasco.
Well, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. I will just share my screen with you. So today, what we are going to do is I will try to explain you a little bit about coffee. I'm not sure what is your knowledge regarding the coffee business, and after that I will try, if we have time, I will try to explain you a little bit also about what is Delta. Okay, so Delta is a Portuguese company, and we are represented in Saudi Arabia by NSK Trading. So my first word is to thank NSK Trading for this opportunity. I believe this is very important to give tools to people that are willing to learn more, not only about coffee, but about sales, about marketing, about how can you manage your time. And this is where our points are together. So we want to give information to people. We want people to understand what is coffee. We want people to know what is the basic difference between several brands or between different types of coffees. So I will just try to give you, if you have any questions, don't hesitate and put in the chat. I will point and I will try to answer to all the questions. So today the agenda is, I will give you a little bit of a brief of what is the story of coffee, what are the different of coffee beans, some coffee traditions between Portugal and Saudi Arabia, some fun facts, then over here you can make all the questions that you want about Delta cafes, and at the end, please feel free to make all the doubts. I'm here to try to solve your doubts, your questions, and I hope that this can be a very good session for you as well. So I'm not sure if you know, this is the coffee plant. This kind of red berries, it's where the coffee comes from. It's strange because usually when we drink coffee, it's already in a liquid shape, but this is the origin of the coffee. And the origin of the coffee started like maybe in the 10th century, and it started with a legend. So there is no records of how the coffee started, but this is the strongest legend that there is. So it was a goat herder, and his name was Scaldi, and he started to just take a walk at night with the goats, and after some time he realized that the goats were very energetic, so they don't want to sleep, they don't want to rest, they are very, very energetic. And he found out that it was because of the berries. So the berries that he was eating was the reason of the excitement on the goats. And this is why he found out that there was something magical in these berries. So he took these berries to the monastery in Ethiopia nearby, where they tried to taste these coffee berries, and where they tried to saw what are the results. So what was going to happen with the goats, and they saw that it was happening with them as well. So from the 10th century to the 15th century, there was like a bit of a gap, and the first records of coffee in written documents or written papers, they were in Yemen. So they started to become very popular in the Arabian Peninsula, and they started to cultivate beans. So the beans didn't exist over there, they only existed in Ethiopia and in that area. So they started to cultivate the beans. After some time, they realized that this was a very important raw material they have. So they start to commercialize the beans to Turkey and then to Europe. So 200 years later, the coffee started to become popular in Europe. So this is why I always say that in the Arabian Peninsula, there is a strong tradition in coffee. And it's a wonderful market to understand how the coffee starts to be commercialized over there and went back to Europe. And then now we are starting to trade again from Europe to Saudi Arabia. So this is amazing to see, and I didn't know that you know this story or not. So the word coffee entered in the English language in 1582, and it came through the Dutch. And through the Dutch, it came from the Turkish Ottoman. But they pick up the word from Arabic. I'm not sure if it's the correct one, how to say, but it's kawa. For sure, you'll know better than me. Just a quick note. Please do your questions in English. I don't understand Arabic, unfortunately. So if you have any questions, just put in English, so I will reply to you. So I'm not sure if it's the right pronunciation, but it's kawa. So it's the origin of the name coffee. So after this discovery, and after arriving in Europe, Dutch people, Spanish and Portuguese, that at the time they have a lot of colonies, they start to take the seeds of the coffee plants and to plant it in their colonies. So Brazil, Indonesia, Angola, Honduras, in all these places that are the biggest coffee producers, it wasn't coffee over there. So we will see this later on, but Brazil now, it's the biggest producer. It's like all the people, they know that coffee comes from Brazil. At that time, 300 years ago, they didn't have any coffee. So the Portuguese, they plant coffee seeds over there in order to have coffee plants. And this starts to become a business. So at that time, like 300, 250 years ago, coffee started to become very popular and very important. So all the people, they try to negotiate coffee. All the colonies, all the countries, they were trying to negotiate coffee. And this is why, at this very moment, coffee is the second most consumed drink in the world. So the first one is water, the second is coffee. But this started 300 years ago. So it was a long process, and it's expected to grow even more in the next 20 years. This is the top 10 of coffee producers. As you can see, Brazil is the biggest one. So Brazil represents 1/3 of the coffee production worldwide. Then you have Vietnam, Colombia, Indonesia, Honduras, Ethiopia, India, Uganda, Peru, and Mexico. And hopefully in the near future, Saudi Arabia will be here as well. I know that you are having a lot of plantations in the north area, so, and in the south area as well. So I hope that in the future you can have a very large quantities to export. It will be interesting to see. Just to give you an idea, the amount of coffee that is showing here in Brazil, you need to multiply this by 1,000 and to have the number of bags. So it's 50 million bags of 60 kilos that are exported every year from Brazil. This represents, just a rough idea, 171,000 containers full with coffee every year, okay, with green coffee. So this is why we are entering in this kind of business. You just need to understand where the coffee comes from, what is the origin of the coffee. If we have this understanding, we can understand a little bit more on how to sell the coffee, how to choose the coffee, what is the difference between the coffees. And this is something that I will show you now. So as you can see, this is the coffee berries after picked up. You have different colors and we have different varieties as well. So this is the countries where there is coffee plants. So there is no coffee plants in Italy, there is no coffee in Europe, but all the coffee are coming from the countries that are near Ecuador. This is because of climate, altitude, temperature, the time of the sun into the plant. So this is the reasons why you only have coffee here. And you have two different types of coffee, Arabica and Robusta. As you can see, Arabica, it's mainly in Central and South America, and then on the east coast of Africa. Let me just, okay. So then you have Robusta that mainly grows in the west part of Africa and in Asia, so in India and Indonesia and Vietnam. So Vietnam, as you saw before, it's like the second biggest producer of coffee, and it's the first one of Robusta. So I will just explain you what are the difference between the Arabica and the Robusta. So Arabica and Robusta are two types of beans that you can find. However, there are more than 100 types of beans. But for commercial purpose, for disease purpose of the beans, only two are used. that is Arabica, and that is Robusta. So these two types combined, they have the perfect espresso. They will give you the perfect coffee. So Arabica will give the flavor of the coffee, and the Robusta will give the crema, will give the caffeine, the chemical that gives you power. So yes, this is one of the reasons why we drink coffee, is to give us power to wake up. And I don't know if you saw before, Robusta, it's mainly found in places where the sea level is very low. So the altitude is very low. Usually it's below 600 meters. And the Arabica, it's a little bit different. So it's like between 900 meters and 2000 meters. So you can find, as you've seen before, Brazil is the biggest producer. So Brazil mainly produces Arabica, and it's in a high altitude. The same with Colombia, the same with Kenya, the same with Tanzania. These are countries with a high altitude where the coffee plants, they can grow and they can breathe. They have a little bit less oxygen, and also the humidity is a little bit different, and they can have much more aromas. So this is just to explain you what are the two different types of beans that are used worldwide. Most of the times you will see that all the coffee blends are 100% Arabica, or they are nearby, like 80-20, because it's very difficult to have a coffee that is 100% Robusta. It's almost impossible to drink, okay? So this is a brief idea of what is the coffee so far, but how they will pick up the berry and it will transform in a cup of coffee as you drink it every day. I hope that you drink every day, and I hope that is Delta. So this is the first idea of how they pick the berries. After you plant the coffee tree, it takes between 3 to 5 years to grow, depends on a variety. And after it grows, and after it becomes red, you can pick this berry. You can open to remove the bean from the inside. So what we are used to roast is this small bean inside, this small, we call it the green bean, and it's shipped to countries where you have production of coffee, like in Portugal or in Italy, and it will be roasted. So it will be heated, it will be cooked, and after that it's ready to drink, or if necessary, we need to grind the beans. Okay, so instead of being beans, you have also this ground coffee. And this is how, how is the process of getting the coffee from the country of origin until the final production. When you are picking up the coffee, there are several ways to do it. So you can just hand pick one by one. You can just push all the coffee, it will damage the coffee tree, or you can use machines to pick up. Usually machines are used in Robusta plants, not in Arabica plants. This is one of the reasons why Arabica is a little bit more expensive than Robusta on average. Okay? Any questions? So far everything is okay? Yes, so the soil is very important. The soil and the weather, both. If you take one coffee plant from Brazil and if you plant it in, for instance, in Portugal, it won't work because it will need humidity. It will need the temperature has to be controlled. So you can plant it like in a greenhouse. That you can do. Okay. So the coffee bean can be stored in green beans like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years easily. After being roasted, it cannot be stored more than 2 years because it will be in contact with oxygen and it will lose all the properties. Okay? So how can the coffee be picked up and how can it come to the factory? So usually to have 1 kilo of green beans, so we receive these bags of 60 kilos of green beans, it requires 5 to 6 kilos of cherries. Okay, so in all this process, 4 kilos, it's gone. Okay, after you removing the cherries from the tree, there are 2 processes. So one is the wet process and the other is the dry process. So the dry process, they will keep the beans inside the cherry, they will make a separation according to size, and they will dry it under the sun. Okay, so no water is used. And water is an expensive product. So usually this happens in places where there is no water, like Africa. Okay, so most of the Africa places that are cultivating Robustas, they do like this. They use the drying process. The wet process, it's a little bit different. So they will put all the coffee berries inside the tank to see if there are rocks, to see if there is some berries that are empty, they don't have the bean inside. They will remove all the water from the tank and they will remove the pulp, this kind of cherry. After that, they will dry the coffee. Okay. From here, the process is the same. So it will clean, it will make the grading, it's very important, the separation between the size of the coffee. The bigger the coffee bean, the most expensive the coffee is. It will be polished and there is a sorting. So there are several types of coffee. It's not everything the same. There are several grades, there are several qualities. We need to see if the coffee has some defect or not. So these kind of things. And then it's storage and it's going to the countries of production. But just this idea, from 5 to 6 kilos of cherry, we only have 1 kilo of green beans. So 4 kilos, it's waste material. Okay, it's organic material. Questions? Okay, so here you can find the difference between washed using water or do not using water, the natural. So the natural, the coffee will absorb all the ingredients, all the juice that is in the cherry. Okay, and this is what is fun in the coffee business, because the perfect coffee is having these 2 different types. So it's what we call it the blend. So the most difficult part is to find the perfect blend, combining all the different coffees from around the world and all this process, if it's washed or it is natural. Okay, so this is why the coffee business has a lot of different ideas, a lot of different coffee brands, a lot of different types of coffee and different prices also. It's because of this. Okay. Let me just check if there's any questions here. So this is not about marketing. So this is just about information for understand a little bit more about coffee. Okay. Not today, but I think on the next part of the webinars will be about sales and marketing. Okay, so I will just move on. So the coffee tradition, it's a little bit different. I only have like 2 examples just for you to understand. Usually countries that don't have much sun, they drink a lot of coffee, or they are more cold. So you can find that the coffee consumption per capita, per person, is bigger, like in Sweden, in Finland, in Norway, in Denmark. So they drink a lot of coffee. So they drink more than 6 kilos of coffee per year, each person, which is a lot. Then you have places where the coffee is growing a lot, like Indonesia, Turkey, India, Vietnam, Russia, China, Saudi Arabia. The coffee is growing a lot because it's becoming a trend. But it's important to know how the coffee consumption is going to be. So what kind of coffee these countries are going to have. Because in Portugal and in Italy, we drink espresso. And in these Nordic countries, they drink Americano. So they will have much more quantity of coffee in this 12-ounce paper cup than what we have in this porcelain cup. So as I told you before, Portugal and Italy, they drink the espresso. And espresso is the base of almost every coffee drinks. So espresso is the base of cappuccino, of latte, of flat white. The espresso is the base of all these drinks. So the espresso was invented in Italy because it was a guy named Luigi who invented the espresso machine. And the espresso machine allows us to do pressure under the coffee with hot water in order to have an extraction. Okay, and this was what was created in Italy, and this is why all the Italian brands are famous, because this was invented over there 100 years ago, and the trend started to become, I want an espresso, I want an Italian coffee. So this is why if you go to Italy, in all different small cities, they have their own brand. So it's a tradition over there. Then this tradition also passes to Portugal. We have a different type of roasting, but the drink is the same, so it's espresso. And our target at Delta is to have the perfect espresso. So this is our target, this is what we do, okay? In Saudi Arabia, you have a different type of consumption. So your consumption started with coffee made from green beans. And even you have a different type, a different set for serving, okay? And this was the main difference between the coffee consumption between Europe and Saudi Arabia was this one. What is funny is that now in Saudi Arabia, there is a big growth in the consumption of espresso, and in Europe, there is a growth on the consumption of green beans. Because the green beans, with some spices and with hot water, they have special properties that help you. So they are antioxidant, they are good for your skin. So there are a lot of good properties in the coffee and with the green beans. So now it's a trend to have this kind of drinks in Europe. So just some fun facts that I think it's nice to have. The espresso machine was invented in Italy, as I told you. The coffee was forbidden to leave the Arabian Peninsula. So 200 years ago, it was not allowed to sell coffee plants or coffee beans outside the peninsula, the Arabian Peninsula. As I told you before, it wasn't no coffee at all in Brazil. It was the Portuguese who planted over there, and then they started to plant and to plant and to plant, and now they are the biggest producer. The coffee price is set in the stock market in London and in New York. So it's like a commodity, and all the commodities are in the stock market. So the Arabic are in one place, are in New York, and the Robust are in London to be set the price, and over there they are negotiating. Don't forget that this is a fruit. So in 1 year it can be good, in another year the production can be lower, and this will affect the price. So the supply and the demand will work in here. So the coffee, I told you before also, is the most consumed drink in the world after water. Okay. Any questions? This is just a brief introduction about coffee. I don't know if I have, let me just check. Okay. So what is Delta after all? What is the history that is behind Delta and behind the consumption of the Portuguese coffee? The Portuguese coffee has a very big tradition here in Portugal. So all the people, they drink coffee. All the people, they go out to have coffee with friends, to have coffee with their families. It's a moment where they get together for networking and for socializing, okay? And this is important and this is key to understand how we put everything around the coffee table. Okay, so usually we say between friends, let's go and have a coffee. It's a way to put the coffee and the people together. Okay, so as I told you, 80% of the people that drink coffee in Portugal. This is why our expertise has been growing and has been very important. Let me just check. Okay. So just to reply one quick question, yes, there is a big difference between a coffee machine and a coffee pot. So there are several types of coffee machine, but the espresso machine, it uses pressure to do the coffee, to extract the coffee, the hot water from the beans. The coffee pot, no, the coffee pot use boiling water, and then you just let all the coffee settled, and then you can serve. So it's a different type of coffee with different properties, and both of the coffees are good. So in here depends on how we want your coffee to be, more stronger or a little bit more lighter in terms of caffeine. Okay. So as you can understand, we drink a lot of coffee here in Portugal, and we created the symbol of Portuguese coffee, blends of stories. So what we want to try to achieve is we want to tell the story that will transform the life of a lot of people and that will help people to improve their well-being, to improve their physical, to improve their mental health, everything that will help, and that the coffee has the properties, we want to help people to have it. So this is why we put people and coffee together. This is why we want to give formation to the people. This is why we want to give training to the people. We want to teach people what is for us the perfect espresso. So it can be easier to understand. It can be easier to choose between several brands. It can be easier to choose not only of Delta, of course, but to have knowledge and to have experience. Okay. So as I told you, we are coffee drinkers, especially espresso, and for us, this is the 5 parameters that we need to have. So aroma, taste, crema, temperature, and color. So if one of these parameters is not correct, the espresso is not perfect. Okay, and our target is always the perfect espresso. But Delta was founded in 1961 by this gentleman here. It is Mr. Nabeiro. He's a person with 88 years old and is still working. He's going to the factory every day. He knows the name of all the employees in the company. And today Delta is one of the top 10 companies in Portugal. Okay, not only for the sales volume or for the international success, but also for what we do with the community, what we do with sponsoring, what we do with supporting a lot of families, a lot of businesses. Okay, so now we have more than 25 companies under the umbrella of Delta, and We have more than 3,300 employees, more than 315 million euros in sales. We are the biggest coffee roaster in Portugal and Spain together. And our target is to achieve the biggest number of customers that we can. Not only because of the sales, but also because we want to touch into the heart of all the people. We want them to be connected with our story. We want them to be linked with our company. Okay, so this is our target. How we will do that? With a perfect coffee, with good origins, good roasting, and good blends. Remember when I told you that the secret was to have the perfect blend, to have the perfect combination between the coffee beans? So this is the reason, because this will make a lot of difference in the end. And this is where we have most of our know-how. So the origins I showed you before, we buy from all over the country. Most of the origins are certified in order to protect the farmer as well and the environment. And this is our main difference. So it is called the roasting process. We have a slow roasting process. Some of the other companies, they have a very fast roasting process of like 11 minutes. We have of 18 minutes to 20. And this means that if you have a pizza and if you put in the oven, it will take much more time than if you put on microwaves, but there are some differences. You will see that there are some differences. And then what we do a lot of tests and we do the perfect blend. Okay. So there are several different blends in Delta, and the main reason is because we do a lot of testings, a lot of analysis to see what is the best combination, and this is what we achieve. So 3.5 billion of cups of coffee every year. Okay, so I think it's so far. Let me just see. Okay. Okay. So our DNA is also important. As I told you before, we have a different philosophy as a company. And this is one of the things that has linked with NSK Trading as well, is we care about people. And people, as you can see here, is one of the pillars of our company. So customers, people, values, and innovation. This is the four pillars that we believe they must be in all the companies. And this is what we believe that is helping us to grow and that is helping us to achieve a big number of customers. Okay, so as mentioned to you before, consumers, customers, suppliers, companies, community. These 5 different stakeholders are all together in Delta values. Okay, so just to give you an idea, we are the biggest company supporting the community and having a social responsibility in Portugal. So we help more than 3,000 families every year. We help a different number of young associations that they want to start their startups or their own, just to give you an idea, football club, and we want to help them. So we never say no to these kind of requests, and we want to help and we want to make people to grow and to be connected with Delta. This is one of the ways. Mr. Nabar always says, what the heart is giving me, I want to give it back as well. So what the consumers and the customers are giving us, a part of it, it will go back to them as well. It will go back to the society. Okay, so this is one of the associations that we have. It's called Coração Delta. And another thing that I want to show you is why innovation is important as well. So we have more than 250 industrial property rights. So we are the most innovative company in Portugal. We are the company in Portugal with more property rights, industrial property rights. Okay, so the second one is factory of Bosch in Portugal. But we also have the biggest coffee museum in Europe. Okay, because as I told you before, we want to share our experience. We want to try to teach people what is coffee. And this coffee museum, that is called the Coffee Science Center, we put plants over there. So as you can see, this is a greenhouse with coffee plants, real coffee plants, but everything is controlled. So the soil, it has come from Africa, the temperature is controlled, the humidity is controlled, and we can have some berries just to show people what is the real coffee. Unfortunately, we are not live and present, so I can show to you, but maybe another time we'll have this opportunity. This is our current CEO of Delta. He's the grandson of Mr. Number I showed you before, and this is what we want. We want to become a commitment to the people, to the quality, to the innovation. We want people that trust in Delta, and trust that that cup of coffee has everything right over there. Okay? Questions? Feel free to do it. So we are like the main driver of coffee in Portugal and Spain. And in the last 20 years, we started to grow and we start to achieve different countries. So we have 8 direct operations, like in Brazil, Portugal, Spain, France, Switzerland, Luxembourg, and China. And then we have distributors worldwide. Okay, so from Canada to Saudi Arabia or to UAE, as you want. We have different opportunities in different markets, so we can understand a little bit better what the different consumers, what they want, what they are expecting. And this is why in 2007, we have launched Delta Q. So Delta Q is a part of Delta, and it's coffee in capsules. Okay? So what we tried to achieve here was Nespresso was growing and we were market leaders in Portugal. So we want to defend that place, that position. So we decided to create our own capsule, our own exclusive system, because a leader never follows. And we want to have a perfect system designed by us in order to achieve the perfect espresso. So this was our target. And this was a success. So we have sold more than 1.2 billion capsules, more than 800,000 machines. I think this number is not updated because I think it's more than 1 billion as well. And this has been one of the main points of getting another type of customers, younger customers, the customers that want to enjoy the coffee at their home, at their house. What are the strategies for social responsibility you suggest? Thanking for sharing ideas. So I will reply to this later on, okay? With Ibrahim, I will just reply later on. This is important to understand the range of products that we have. So we have 2 different machines in Saudi Arabia, the one that is Cool Evolution and the other one that is Milk Cool. I believe that are some of the machines are going to be drawn at this program. These machines, they were designed by us and they were specially made to have the perfect combination between the coffee that you have in your capsule and the extraction system. And this was one of the reasons that took us to going with our own system and not Nespresso compatible. We know that it is more difficult. We know that it takes a lot of time, but it's okay. We are here to try to create our own brand and our own system. Nowadays, you can see that there are some companies, they have Nespresso compatibles, or Nespresso is like shifting the type of capsules. We do the things at our own path and in our own way, okay? And this is the products that we have. So this is the base blends. There are different blends with different origins in here. At the end of the month, we can discuss a little bit more about this. I will try to teach you how to sell this coffee, how to sell these products. This is some special products that we have also in Saudi Arabia with cinnamon, with the double of caffeine. It is something unique. And also the one that is called Charisma, that is a very strong coffee. So for people that like strong coffee to wake up, these two are the right ones, double and Charisma. They are the perfect ones, okay? So at this moment, we are only present in online in Saudi Arabia. Hopefully in the future, we are going to achieve much more channels, maybe a store, maybe of trade, who knows? On the bottom on the left, you have our flagship store in Lisbon. It is a very nice place to relax or to have a meeting or just to see friends. It's a very open and nice space. You are all invited when you come to Lisbon to visit. And this is some of the major customers that we have, like Walmart or Carrefour or Biedronka, that is a Polish retail company. And some of the hotel chains that we work with. Okay. So this is our promise, and this is what we want to do and to achieve. I think we have time for some questions, so please feel free to do it. And once again, thank you for your time. I hope that you can understand a little bit more about coffee now. I know that it's only like 45 minutes, but this is a never-ending world, you know. We are always learning in all different products, different strategies, different information. So just to replying to Eza, there are a lot of strategies of social responsibility that we do. We think always about people and the environment, and to think about the combination of these two, I think it's the best strategy of social responsibility. Usually, we try to help young people, because these young people, it will be the consumer of the future. And it's usually the people that needs more help, that needs more in times of needs like this, they need more attention, they need more care. And also, in Portugal, there are some areas that they are very isolated. And there is like a lot of old people over there. So we try to help them. So what we have done last year in the winter time, we have created a system like walkie-talkies with some supplies. So every time they were like lonely, they could communicate with each other. So this was some of the things that we have done in the past. We are always doing different types of campaigns. Now with the Corona situation, we have stopped our production in one of the factories, and we start to produce masks and gloves to give free to the hospitals and to the security forces. So we give, I don't know, more than 100,000 complete masks, suits, and gloves to hospitals no charge. It was free. So the average price of coffee machines you can check on the nskTrading.com.sa website, or you can just contact them. Sometimes they have promotions, so I don't know what is the price at the moment, but they have a full range of coffee machines and a full range of coffee capsules and accessories as well.
Thank you, Vasco, for this interesting webinar and for the useful information that you shared with us, and especially the fun facts. That was actually interesting. And I can see that here one of the question is Delta Q produced only coffee capsules. You don't have espresso machines?
So we have espresso machines, not Delta Q, but it's Delta, because the Delta Q is only related to the capsules. But we will have espresso machines, normal semi-automatic espresso machines, and we even have a professional espresso machine that you can use the capsules. So you don't need grinder, just use capsules. You have the steamer, you have the hot water. It's perfect for places where it's a medium consumption.
Of course. I want to add to that at the moment we've only introduced the Delta Q products, but we are forever evolving in the Saudi market, and we are developing further and further each and every day. So hopefully you will see a whole new collection of product, not only Delta Q, you'll see Delta product and different other product from this great and historical company. And
thank you, Maha, for sure.
No worries, no worries. And for the question, the average prices of coffee machines, as Mr. Vasco mentioned, you can visit our website, nskTrading.com.sa, or you can contact us on one of the social media accounts to ask for the prices, but definitely you can order from our websites. And we want to mention that hopefully soon we are introducing our products on different applications such as Noon and Amazon, so it will be available. And for the attendance link, we want to remind you all that we're going to be sharing that by the end of tomorrow, by the end of the course tomorrow.
Okay, so guys, just one thing for tomorrow. What I will try to explain you, it's a little bit of some sales technique on how to sell this kind of products. So how to sell coffee products, how to approach the different possible customers that you may have. And this will help you not, in some points, not only for coffee, but also for all the products that you can imagine. Okay, everything is connected, everything is related. And you'll understand also a little bit of our philosophy, why people is important to us. Okay, so just one question here. So the suitable machine for your home, it depends also on the type of coffee that you drink. So if you drink espresso, it's easier to have a capsule machine. There are some of automatic machines with a grinder inside where you put the beans and it will grind. And it will be you are able to do cappuccino or latte or espresso as well. And also you have just for filter coffee, where you put the ground coffee, hot water on top, and then you let it boil. So you have these three different options. It depends also on the consumer. For me at my house, I have the three of them, but I also work in the coffee business, so so that's why. But I use most of the time I use capsules. It's easier to use, and I mean I'm an espresso drinker, so it's like very, very fast to do it.
Okay, I don't see any further questions. So what I'm gonna say, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Vasco, for this interesting. I want to thank you, Vasco, for this interesting webinar again, and for all the interesting information that you provided, and hopefully we will have much more from you to learn tomorrow and every day. And so we appreciate you sharing your experience and everything that you know. And regarding our products, as mentioned, you can visit our website or our social media accounts to browse through our products and see the different products that we offer for the Saudi market, and wait for our upcoming product that will be in an interest to you guys, and hopefully you will receive all the satisfaction you need from us as NSK Trading or from Delta, from the quality of the products as well. Okay, so I guess this is all. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Vasco, again. And
Thank you so much,
hopefully, I
Mahal.
just want to remind you guys that we will be seeing you again tomorrow at the same time, inshallah, with different topic, and hopefully that you will enjoy it as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice evening.